Three, two, one. What is up, everybody? You are listening, you are watching to the Constant Elevation podcast. I am your host, Gabe Rock. Can't stop, won't stop. I actually wanted to, we just finished up buttoning up. Well, we're not finished. There's a lot of other buttoning up of the house and trying to get our house prepared for Hurricane Milton here. As it approaches us, we are not actually on the west side of Florida. We live on the east side of Florida. Not all the way on the Space Coast proper, but we live a little bit more inland. And so, but we are definitely taking precautions. You can see behind me, got the house boarded up. Shout out to our neighbor, Megan's dad, Brian, for helping me put up these things. There's pretty intuitive how to put these shutters up. They're kind of piecemeal. You just got to drill it all. They left the drill or the screws into the wall. And so you just got to keep on going. But I was going pretty slow when I came home after work the other day ago. And Brian, he was like NASCAR. He was like, zzz, 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 zzz. And then Trey was next to us, moving all the shutters. And so it went by really fast. And so the whole house is shuttered up. I would say, looking around the neighborhood, when I can even look around right now, I'd say about like 80-ish% of our houses are shuttered up. And so some people, I guess, you definitely have a spectrum of people here in Florida be like, no, we're going to button it up and make sure we're precaution. And people are like, I don't really know. Nothing is, maybe they've experienced it more so. And so bless their hearts. I'm glad they're confident on their safety approach, but we are taking a little bit more safe approach. And so what I want to give a quick update on this week is actually just so far the kind of the emergency response that our team has been doing here at AFTAC, and just some lessons learned, lessons observed, and just things that have been happening. And so we've been actually tracking this since Sunday. Actually, yeah, Sunday is when we've called our first AFTAC action group. So that's equivalent to the Emergency Operations Center at a traditional wing. And so I will say that part of the training that I got back in April during my Group Commander Charm School, I went to the MSG track and I actually I stayed for the EOC Director course. It actually helped me a lot. Just kind of getting my mindset as far as how to approach doing emergency management on behalf of, so I'm not the EOC Director for Patrick. That's actually the Vice Deputy Commander Support. He's actually serving in that function. Excuse me. I serve in that role for AFTAC itself. And so we had a couple of things we needed to talk about on Sunday. One of the first things we had to do is we had to swing our 24/7 nuclear deterrence mission to our alternate location. So we, based on the approach of Milton and what was going to be happening and where we were at in the danger track, we made that decision to go ahead and swing to our alternate location. And so operations are happening as they need to be. And actually, it was really early coordination. We erred on the side of caution, and I'm glad we did what we did on Sunday. Some of the travel up to our alternate location kind of got, because everybody essentially in our area started in Florida, I should say, was having a hard time getting out. And so they actually made it to the alternate location and are doing their operation. So really cool. And shout out to the team for doing that. As far as what I was responsible for here was making sure and managing the what are we doing for our team itself. So we have to secure the personnel, the facilities, had some key operational decisions of what we needed to do. And I had to just kind of go into organization mindset, how I can actually maintain some sort of consistency for the team at large. Because I feel one of the things I learned and I believe in during emergency management is having some structure, as much as you can anyway. So luckily, this thing has been consistently kind of growing towards us, almost in 24-hour cycles, that we have brand new information, and then we get to make as informed decisions as we can make. We can't necessarily predict the future, but we can make some informed decisions. So that has been really, really good. So every single day, I basically set a battle rhythm for every day at 0900 and 1600. We have a in-person and or virtual version of our after action group. And so we have the key leadership of AFTAC there. And then we also have some of the key UCC personnel, some of the squadron commanders, and just the correct people in order to manage both operations as well as disseminating information. It was interesting as we started to proceed forward. One of the checklist items that we have when we fast forwarded to today is that the AOC, After Action Group, AAG, it said to skinny down to like only the key leadership. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Actually, I don't mind having, especially because we've transitioned to the virtual option. Today is Wednesday. And so from Wednesday to Friday, we're actually on max telework. And so I needed to make sure we had some consistency in far as how we communicate and how information is going to be shared. So 09, 1600, boom, boom, boom. And then right after that, I actually give an update to the wing commander, probably about 30 to 45 minutes after our discussion, and then give him some highlights as far as what needs to happen, if we need any key decisions from him. But for the most part, I think between myself and the SAG commander, who's essentially the ops group commander, we've been handling everything for him. And then he does his top cover communication up to 16th Air Force and headquarters ACC. So by able to have a consistency in how we manage and share information has helped a lot. I do believe also that level of consistency and a little bit of a discipline helps relax people a little bit. You know, if you see leadership panicking, you're going to start reflecting like that. And I definitely had to make sure that, like, hey, your job is not to panic here. Your job is trying to be the steady hand as much as possible amidst all of this. It's not quite chaos right now. But in times of urgency when decisions need to be made. So just kind of making sure that I set that there. At every AAG event, we go over the weather. And so we've been tracking that every single time. We can kind of see exactly how far the hurricane is projected. If it's going to be, potential category 1, 2, 3 when it's going to hit us. Obviously the weather and as those updates and the computing models change, we try to plan accordingly. But we've had some really good discussions of how we're going to be shutting down the facility. How do we make sure that people are actually going to leave the building? We had discussions about unplugging electronics, discussions about cleaning out the fridge. We don't want to come back and have some stank nasties in the refrigerator. And so we had a orderly closure of the facility yesterday, which we could sense that people were urgent hey, so we have some early release from schools. We want to go start putting up shutters at our house. How long do I need to be at work? We had to balance that exactly as far as how do we maintain urgency that we can secure and take care of your personal effects and your families, yet also do a orderly not saying dispersal, an orderly departure from our facility. So the AFTAC building is nice and locked up. And then now we've been doing virtual AAGs. We had one this morning. I have another one this afternoon. We have our events that are actually parallel to the wing as well. And so we get good updates from their crisis action team, also known as the CAT. And so I firmly believe our team is actually ahead of the curve. And our wing commander agrees that our level of preparation has been good. We have, as far as kind of living in Florida, I guess Hurricane was the main thing that ended up becoming one of the reasons why we do emergency management. Basically, when I got into the seat, we did a tabletop as far as how the Hurricane things would work. And so that actually helped. And that was in like the first 30 days of me taking command. That was another piece that I learned from the Group Commander Charm School is soon as you take command, you need to understand exactly, do you have any roles in some of those high tops, tempo, emergency management, operational events? Because you need to make sure you're Johnny Jane on the spot doing your job. I knew I needed to step up as the AAJ lead, and I'm taking that responsibility well. I feel like I'm giving the correct guidance to the squadron commanders and senior NCOs for them to do what they need to do to communicate to the formations and making key and timely leadership decisions along the way, as well as informing up our chain of command as far as what's going down here. And trying to manage expectations. That's one of the biggest things we are seeing. Part of that is doing accurate assessments of the weather, making some clear, concise decisions. Yes, we're going to be shutting down on Tuesday afternoon. Here's how we want to do it in an orderly fashion. That way we don't just disperse to the wind and people are just kind of doing half-assed stuff. We need to do this right. And maintaining, thinking ahead, thinking about 12 to 18 hours ahead. What are the things we want to talk about? We're already talking about how we're going to do recovery options on Friday. However, we understand nature gets a vote in that. And so depending on how good or bad the hurricane hits Patrick, we need to be able to contribute to the larger effort to do recovery, but also an orderly recovery. So we have to make sure that only the correct number of pre-identified personnel come into the facility, make sure that it's going to be safe for power, HVAC, all that jazz. And then we have the follow-on operational personnel that are going to make sure that our systems are up and running. And then we'll give the all clear for the rest of AFTAC to come in and go into their workspaces and resume the mission. We also have to swing the mission back from the alternate location back to Patrick, and our operational teammates in the SAG know how to do that. I saw the checklist there. There's a lot of good rigor. This is not their first rodeo either. And so I'm looking forward to continuing that teamwork with our ops teammates. Like anything else though, there are pieces of improvement. And I'm weirdly, as I see things and people are complaining about, well, this process doesn't work. This checklist doesn't actually articulate that. It actually means this. Like, you better write that down, because after we're going to do a debrief. I'm a huge proponent of the debrief. And so making sure that, hey, I don't want this we just kind of say, we're good, mission accomplished, and we'll go back to normal. No, there's an opportunity to tighten up some of our procedures to make sure if and when this does happen again, that we've just learned from this. I don't want to be a lesson observed. I want to learn from it and make sure our processes reflect those experiences correctly, because it's good. Like I've seen a lot of people at multiple levels just understanding like, hey, this was awesome, this could be tightened up. Good. Let's reinforce the things that work well, and let's change the things that are not working well to our advantage. And so overall, I'm glad that this first hurricane event, hopefully it's the last one, but I have a feeling it's not going to be. This first one for us, for Milton, has been a consistent, almost like a 24-hour cycle. So now if the timeline gets constrained, the team, I should say, should be able to respond accordingly, because this is our first rodeo. This is my first rodeo here. And so, but yeah, it's been crazy. You know, we've gone to the store. You're starting to see some supplies getting kind of low. I actually made a comment. I was like, hey, when you're going out there and you're, buying stuff for your family, don't be an asshole. Don't buy all the chicken or all the toilet paper. Buy enough for your family, obviously what that means, and make sure because everybody else is in the same situation. Don't be trying to hoard everything, kind of going back to like the COVID times. Like, don't do that. Don't be an asshole. Also, I was very grateful for our neighbor that he came over and our neighbor's dad came over to help me put up the shutters, offered up the same for him. He was like, I'm not really sure I'm going to put them up. But we'll see exactly what happens later on tonight. I obviously want to hope the best and safe for everybody. So we're going to continue to button down the house. I think we're filling up water. What are we filling up? The bathtubs. We've already brought everything in from outside into the garage. Gina set up like a temporary pee pad for Sally so she doesn't have to go outside. I think we're eating the correct amounts of food, and we're trying to preparing for long-term power outages here. Luckily, the wifey is really good about, because of our camping experience, she's like, no, I got all this stuff. We can figure all this out. We got camping meals and knows how to, not that we need to make a fire or anything like that, but we're going to be prepared. And so we're taking this seriously, making sure that our family is going to be prepared. So I hope that everybody, we're not even taking the brunt of it. We are not on the Tampa side. So I hope that everybody is on that side of the state is safe and making the smart decisions to avoid any risk and take care of their loved ones. And then we are preparing for, we're preparing for we're preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best tonight here on the Space Coast at Patrick Space Force Base. So normally for my Content Elevation podcast episodes, I talk about leadership principles. Today, I just wanted to share some lessons observed and lessons learned, and how much I'm grateful for the teammates that I'm surrounded by here at AFTAC, as well as the Patrick Space Force Base team. We're going to do our best. This is one of those kind of things you have to prepare for these, and I do feel like we are prepared, and we're going to take care of our team on the other side. So if you're in the Florida area, please be safe. And then for everybody else, if you can send your positive vibes and your aloha to us here, and then we will catch up with each other next week. Peace.